It gets tough on Wednesday, but we get tougher. Good morning. Welcome to your perfect morning starter right here on Channels Television. I am Bukola Koka with a very excited Coyote this morning.
Why am I excited? It's hard to tell. But good morning. Welcome to the breakfast show, Morning Brief. I'm Coyote Okikulu. Why am I excited, Bukola? I'm sure you can maybe.
I can hazard a guess.
Why?
4-0.
Because I'm up. No, because I'm up. I'm alive.
Tell the truth, Coyote. After we all queued in a very safe emotional space yesterday, whatever happens,
we're fine.
We're fine.
To be fair, I tried to avoid that match as much as possible. So I was busy doing other things. But I was checking the scores. I was also checking the live stream from time to time. So it was good to see Nigeria winning 4-0 on a lot of levels. First, it's not automatic qualification for Nigeria. We're still going the hard route of playoffs. We're going to play against different teams. So we'll find out if we're actually going to the World Cup next year. But the fact that we were able to pull off a 4-0 win over Benin Republic, get out raw, you know, what the players had said before, and all of that, and the build-up to this, I think it was some sort of silver lining for Nigerians. The fact that they could watch the Super Eagles and be excited. Osimhen with the hat-trick, and then the fourth goal was scored in additional time. So that's why I'm excited that at least Nigerians have something to celebrate.
At least there's some hope, right? Thanks to the hat-trick by Osimhen and the fourth goal, which also came through towards the end. But Kade, I wonder if, you know, a particular question came through your mind after this performance, because it was full of vigor. I didn't watch it, by the way, unashamedly. I admit that I avoided the match. I avoided the scores. I just wanted to hear what happened eventually. But I went to see the match reviews, and I saw the energy, the vigor, the zest on the pitch. And, you know, Cecilia was talking about the miserable campaign ahead of this time, as we had conceded a whole 8 goals, you know, through to what led us here. Why didn't we see this energy in past matches?
And I think that is a question a lot of Nigerians have asked time and again. It's almost like a cultural thing. And
it's like the Eagles only come to life when they've been pushed and pushed and pushed to the wall.
This group was ours for the taking. We had 5 draws, Bukola. So we shared points with others 5 times, and we took 1, they took 1. So we were literally giving points. It wasn't a loss. I mean, a loss is outright 3 points against you, but we were sharing, saying, you know what, you come, take 1. You take 1. When that group was ours for the taking, as much as we don't want to throw blames, but we need to sit back and look inwards as a people, as a nation. And it's funny we're talking about this over football, but it's important. We love our football. But it also speaks to our attitude. The fact that, you know, a lot of people they don't plan as much. Just say, you know, we'll go there and do stuff. It's almost like a cultural thing. It's almost like a cultural thing, but congratulations to Super Eagles. I don't want to belabor the issue.
And thank God cultures are created by humans. So over time, something becomes a culture. We can make excellence our culture, even in our football. And, you know, and this is instructive for the Football Federation to look into this. We want to move away from the narrative of preparation, just weeks to the football, when the Super Eagles will begin to come to camp, you know, to a thriving team, you know, of players. And these are our national jewels. They bring us joy. So if the relevant investment is we'll not be talking about, you know, a qualification that is cast in doubt. No, but we're grateful to the Eagles, we must say.
Absolutely.
To the Super Eagles for that fantastic performance yesterday.
So way to go. I mean, they're the most valuable team. We had 2 African Players of the Year back-to-back in that same team.
Right.
I mean, there's no reason. But again, we can move on this. Lessons to learn for a lot of people. But another big event played out yesterday, politically speaking. Now, Bukola, it's something that had been building up. A lot of people saw it coming already. We've had conversations about it, but everybody was just waiting up until the last moment. Because we had cases before that some other people in the state defected to a party. I'm waiting for the governor to defect, only to hear that he's no more defecting. I'm not mentioning any Southwest state of Osun.
You're not mentioning, did you just say that?
I'm not mentioning any Southwest state of Osun. Okay, but the point is we had to just wait to be sure. Yes, flags were flying around, but the governor of Enugu State, Peter Mba, is now Well, I say card-carrying member of the APC now.
Oh, of course. And in fact, as declared by the vice president at that big event yesterday, he's now the leader of the party in the state. And, you know, this swells the ranks of the People's Democratic Party. Don't forget, of the APC rather. Don't forget that Senator Sumaila, I believe, also defected yesterday, and they now have an APC majority in the Senate. You know, but this is not the end of the series of defections that we're going to see in the coming days.
Certainly.
Reports coming through from Taraba, a state in the north, is that the governor is consulting to see a possible movement come through to the ruling All Progressives Congress. And in fact, another South state may soon join the fray of the ruling All Progressives Congress. So Nigeria is gradually becoming a one-party state. Well, from the evidence that is coming through, how many PDP states do we now have left?
Well, they would argue and say, first of all, there are almost 20 parties in Nigeria registered. Secondly, I mean, there's not just the APC or PDP, there is ADC, there's Labour Party as well. Fine, there's only one governor for Labour Party. ADC does not have a governor. There's NNPP, by the way, in Kano State, has a governor as well. There's APGA in Anambra that has a governor as well. So based on that, it's easy to say, obviously, it's not a one-party state. Governors don't make parties alone. The people actually make the parties. But you must give it to the APC one way or the other, either by hook, by crook, by calculation, or by proper political positioning and planning. They're able to penetrate.
Well, the APC would argue about that hook or crook.
No, those are the options. Points. It's also political, you know, planning and all of that.
They would call it strategy, and they would call it, you know, a party that is meeting the yearnings and aspirations of the people. Hence, you know, the attraction for other politicians who are progressive-minded. The governor of Enugu State has been described as one who has been part of the progressives all along, and he has only just come home. But the question we must put through to them, to politicians, is, you know, what are the defining lines of ideology between the ruling All Progressives Congress and the People's Democratic Party? Even, you know, the new kid on the block, ADC, which is not necessarily new, but has now become one of the major parties to reckon with, following the big defections from the PDP to that party. We should even ask ADC what their own clear ideologies, you know, are as against what the APC offers and what the PDP offers. But, you know, this is the clear direction that Nigeria is headed now, particularly ahead of the 2027 general elections. So what happens during that election? As Jeffrey would say, we miss him at this time. The DNA of the governors becomes the DNA of the people. But the 2027 general elections will prove a very huge litmus test about the decision of the governors that have defected to the ruling APC.
So there you go. Governor of Enugu State is now a card-carrying member of the APC. The question is, who is next? But more importantly, as you said, where is the heart of the people? And I think it's very easy. If you're able to deliver good governance to the people, they'll always be with you. Nigerians are very, very content people. They don't want too much, just the basic things. If you're able to do that, then I think the hearts of the people will be with you. But let's take a look at how the dailies are reporting all of the big stories at the moment. We'll be joined by Mr. Ayo Akeria just in a few seconds, so stay with us.
Welcome back. Time for a review of the papers. And Mr. Ayo Akeria, member board of Guild of Editors of Nigeria, joins us on the program. He joins us from our Abuja studio. It's good to see you again, Mr. Akeria. Well, this time from different sides of the divide. And let's start with the New Telegraph newspaper this morning. And this time it's focusing on the economy. Tinubu secures fresh $2 billion investment in offshore gas project. That's a page 3 and 7 read. And there are some insights just beneath the headline. Records $8 billion commitment in energy sector. Nigeria needs $23 billion to end energy poverty, says Shettima, that's Vice President. I'd like you to weigh in on this against the backdrop of what the realities really are, about the provisions of our energy sector in those critical areas of need, be it petrol, be it cooking gas, be it even power supply and alternatives to power supply. What does this investment say? And how long really before they materialize into quick gains or long-term gains?
Yeah, Bukola, it's a happy day. It's a pleasant day for most Nigerians, particularly with the Super Eagles' victory yesterday. I watched that match. You were bantering with my colleague there in the studio, and you said maybe for some reasons you didn't watch the match, but anxiety drove many of us to watch that match. Kudos to the Super Eagles, kudos to the coach and the players. They did very well, and of course, exceptionally, Osimhen proved himself again and delivered. Delivered for Nigeria. That's quite exciting. I'm happy this morning. Now to the $2 billion that was secured, for investment in the energy sector, maybe oil and gas, what will I say? Most Nigerians are not very, very excited, I suppose, with these figures coming out every now and then that, the federal government is securing foreign direct investment in different sectors of the economy. Well, I also suppose that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is committed to trying to restore the economy. There's some measure of stability at different levels. The exchange rate is stable now. It is coming down a bit. At some point, it stood at 1,538 naira to the dollar. Then it came to 1,500. Now it is 1,400 something. It means that it is climbing down gradually. But if you look at the downstream sector, that is particularly fuel, and fuel pump price that is again climbing up because of challenges in the sector. That is not an impressive story for many Nigerians. So people want to see, when we talk about energy, what are Nigerians really consuming? Well, 1, fuel; 2, gas. All right, fuel, gas, and electricity. Those 3 important services is what drives the thinking of Nigerians in considering whether the government is doing well in those sectors or not. Now, for gas, we know that gas prices have really not stabilized. It kept going up. It fluctuates around 1,300 to one decent of gas. So, and then for fuel, at some point, it came down to 850 in Abuja here to 350 per liter. Now it is, I just bought last night, I bought it for 995 naira in Abuja. And that is general price indices across the market, across the various petrol stations. I was reading a report this morning, it said Dangote has some glitches, and so production has been disrupted. Dapman and other marketers are thinking of importing. So these are areas that the federal government must focus on. It is affecting transportation, even when farmers, apart from insecurity that is affecting food production and food security, transporting finished agricultural products to the cities, will involve the use of fuel. And so if the price of fuel is up there, it's going to affect the price of foods and agricultural products. So generally in the energy sector, energy security is something that governments around the world pay specific attention through subsidy. Well, for Nigeria, the government has announced 2 years ago that subsidy is gone. Now, the benefits is really not trickling down. Most Nigerians are suffering. I am also feeling, and I'm sure you are in the studio this morning. So that is an area that I think the government should focus on. So beyond the paperwork, beyond the figures, beyond what MBS will reel out every week or so, people want to see direct benefits on the table in their lives. Salaries that are earned by Nigerians now has become so meaningless pensioners are suffering, retired people are suffering, those who are even actively working are suffering. So these are areas that the government must look at. But I must also consider the government is doing its best. It could have become worse. It could have become bad if efforts is not being made to tackle some of these issues. But people want to see the efforts, translating to quality living standard for them.
Right. This Nigeria is next, Mr. Ikeria. The focus is on one of the big political stories from yesterday. PDP bleeds seriously as Mba finally joins APC. Enugu government, governor now, laments marginalization. Diri Kefas next. With 74 seats, ruling party secures 2/3 majority in Senate. It's on page 4 of This Nigeria, and perhaps the center page of the minds of people in the PDP in Enugu State and the rest. The implications of this, Mr. Ikeria, when you look at the whole picture, when it comes to governance, primarily, and politics ahead of 2027.
Well, after 26 years of PDP dominance in Enugu State, that gave way yesterday when the governor, Peter Ndubuisi Mba, joined the ruling party. He's not the only one to have moved. The governor of my state, Right Honorable Sheriff Oburewori, has also moved. A couple of the governors are moving. The reasons these governors give, particularly those from the south, and southeast, is basically the same, that they want to align with the federal government and, of course, bring the dividends of democracy to their states. Of course, if you evaluate and examine the reasons that these governors are giving, well, they on the face value, they seem to, on the face, they seem to carry some weight and value. But if you begin to interrogate it with regards to democratic stability and democratic developments, I don't know whether this is what Nigerians actually bargain for. But if I'm from the south, I'm from Delta State. It is a bit awkward that the states who are producing, let me use that word now, who feel that they are laying the golden egg that everybody's sharing, they are not in the center. So they want to be at the center and attract federal projects to their people. So that's a valid excuse for anyone to give, really. And most people in those states, align with the thinking of their governors, and it resonates with them. But on the flip side, I do not know whether that contributes significantly to democratic development, because the beauty of democracy is the plurality of choices. Yes, one can argue that you have the Labour Party, the PDP is there, ADC is coming up trying to, and of course other fringe parties who are quite insignificant when it comes to electoral contestation. In the US, in the United States, for example, where we try to model our brand of democracy, I've never heard of state governors actually abandoning their political parties to join the ruling party. The dominant political parties in the US is Republican Party and the Democratic Party. I've never heard of Republicans either going to the Democratic Party or Democrats jumping ship to the Republicans, So I think this is also a wake-up call for the National Assembly. I doubt if the National Assembly, as currently constituted and led by Gospel Akpabio, will have the political will to do that. But I would think that to enhance and deepen our democratic process, a law should be put in place, to discourage this practice of people moving from the political party on which they won elections to maybe a different political party. Where the law is there, it exempts some categories of people, but it is really not clear. The ambiguity of the law is not helping our political processes and development. There should be a clear law to say that there should also be a political ideology. I think the reason is that all of the political parties in Nigeria lack depth of political ideology. So it is just about, what is exigent, what is at the moment for me, perhaps the people. So the thinking really, once the governor takes a decision, the state has to move with him. That is where we are. That is our brand of democracy in Nigeria, but it's a unique brand of democracy. It is evolving. It is perhaps growing. And we try to see where all of this will lead us. But for me, I'm a pro-democracy person. I'm a civil society person. A lot of us struggle to ensure that we bet the current democratic process. But I'm not too sure if this is what we think that the brand of democracy should be. The idea is that there should be plurality of the process, there should be freedom, the space should be wider, and then the laws should be robust to discourage this carpet crossing.
Well, the IMF is speaking about the health of our democracy now, economically speaking, and that's on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper. It casts the big story from the ongoing meetings this week. Illegal financial outflows worsening Nigeria's revenue problem. That's ascribed to IMF. And there are some riders. Promises renewed focus on tracing such flows to plug fiscal leakages. Upgrades Nigeria's 2025 economic forecast to 3.9%. Up from the initial forecast. Cites stronger domestic fundamentals, calls for credible fiscal monetary policies, downgrades global economic growth forecast to 2.8%. Now, there's so much to unpack from the insights provided on this story, but perhaps you could speak to just the first two or so. Renewed focus on tracing such flows to plug fiscal leakages. Fiscal leakages have not just been a problem now. What are the antecedents of the institution from the past that could, make the public rely on this promise to plug fiscal leakages? Perhaps you also want to speak to its economic growth forecast for Nigeria this time, given that Nigeria has oftentimes defied IMF's growth forecast.
Well, it's interesting. We were just talking about energy stability and the investment in the energy sector a while ago. What this means is that, the policies, the economic policies of the Tinubu administration is yielding results. The International Monetary Fund, don't forget, it was founded in 1944. The idea was first mooted in 1944 during the Bretton Woods conference, but the IMF actually took off officially on March 1, 1947. And since then, the institution has been very active in trying to shape the fiscal and financial policies of nations, members of the IMF. Now, I read a report yesterday where Georgina Christina, the managing director of the IMF, actually gave this projection. Now, when an institution like the IMF, comes up with this kind of projection, it is something to be taken seriously, because it then means that the economy as it is rebounding. It is beginning to look up. It is showing some positive signs. Now, with regards to combating illicit financial outflows from Nigeria specifically now, the IMF identified some of the factors, areas where the leakages are occurring. One, theft of public funds, digital fraud, where that is not traceable, funds that are not traceable through digital transactions, and of course other funds that are taken offshore, moved away from the country. The IMF is promising that it's going to try and focus more, on tracing these funds. Now, but back home we have the EFCC, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. We also have the NFIU, Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit. All of these government agencies are supposed to follow up on funds, maybe whether it is official or unofficial. Official transactions through the banks, are easily traceable, because now we have more stringent banking policies where these funds can be, whether it is transfers, and all of that can be traced. We also have people moving cash. Just last week, two individuals were arrested, at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport in Lagos, moving millions of dollars of cash, So these are issues. We also have funds, illicit funds that is moved through drugs, the drug cartels. Some of these drug cartels, use those funds, invest those funds in real estate and the automobile industry. So these issues, we should develop a robust effort, back home domestically to try and trace these funds. That way, it can strengthen our development effort, because the IMF also said that it is affecting development efforts, particularly in developing countries. So if you look at all of the issues that the IMF has raised this morning, I think I do agree with Madam Georgina this morning, and particularly with the forecast on Nigeria. It is looking up. I think it is something that Nigerians should share about. But as I said earlier, it has not reflected on the daily lives of most Nigerians. The food table is still not robust. People are still scrapping off food to eat, and people are struggling. The value of the naira, if you look at it, even to our West African neighbor, the CFA, the value of the naira has dropped significantly. So the purchasing power is really not there. If we're able to plug these leakages back home domestically through robust policies, through commitment and patriotism by law enforcement agents, perhaps we can get out of the woods.
Indeed, it appears a mixed bag, but from the journalistic perspective, we must be grateful. It's not every day that we have pleasant stories to tell. And it's a fine place to anchor. And thank you so much, sir, Mr. Igo Akeria, for coming on the newspaper review segment today. Mr. Akeria is a member of the Guild of Editors of Nigeria. Thank you so much for your time.
It's always a pleasure. Thank you.
Indeed. I will pause for a moment. When we return, it will be time to look at that powerful match. Our sports correspondent joins us after this time out. We'll be right back.
All right, Cecilia Morgbe joins us now, sports anchor and correspondent. Cecilia, we did it, right? We won that match yesterday, but we have not done it entirely just yet, because we missed the automatic qualification, no thanks to South Africa's 3-0 win yesterday. But we are into the playoffs. As much as I want to celebrate what happened yesterday, I am looking ahead now, Cecilia. Just how tough is the road ahead for the Super Eagles? Cecilia, you might need to unmute so we can hear you. Okay, we'll get back to Cecilia just to walk through that match, but more importantly, what happens from now, because that's what a lot of Nigerians are asking about. Yes, 4-0, thanks to Osimhen's hat-trick and Frank Oyeka's stoppage time goal. But what next? How are we getting into this all-important World Cup with the playoffs? What will the playoff look like? What kind of teams are we going to face? And when will we know our fate eventually? Cecilia, good to have you back. So speak to us. What does the road ahead look like? I don't want to focus on yesterday anymore. My goal is what's ahead.
It's going to be mentally drained. So we need to really, really focus on what is important. November, the playoffs for Africa start in November. You've got Gabon, you've got Cameroon, and of course, you have Congo, DR, and Nigeria. These are the 4 teams that will be playing the playoffs. And after that, if Nigeria wins the playoffs in Morocco, that is starting on the 13th, and then they go ahead to play the Intercontinental, a 6-nation Intercontinental tournament. So the winner of two teams from that 6 Intercontinental tournaments will be the ones that will represent, that will be the country that will go to the World Cup. So it's a long road, really. So we are going through these long roads simply because of the fact that we did not top the group. The group winners, automatically you get your spot. But the 4 best teams from the playoffs will be the ones, for the 4 best teams from the group will be the ones to go ahead for one playoffs. The one in Africa, and of course the Intercontinental, where you're going to be having countries from, Oceania, Asia, CONCACAF, and all put together those 6 teams. I think it's a long road, really. So we're just hoping and praying that the Super Eagles, what they did, because they saved the best for last. The time they could have, started winning, the players, should I use the word, we're not really serious. But now when, they were pushed to the wall, as we talked about yesterday, they were able to get the desired victory. Benin Republic were the only team they lost to. And now this same Benin Republic was the team that they had the highest margin of victory against.
Indeed, and we're not just going to be praying. We hope that the work will be done as well, this time in the Super Eagles camp. But Cecilia, talk to us about what you saw yesterday. What lessons can we learn from yesterday's match in terms of formation, the lineup? And do you think that the Eagles sort of enjoyed the home advantage?
Yes, of course, they enjoyed the home advantage. But it's that same home that will drop points against Lesotho, that same home will drop points against Zimbabwe. So when you have these put together, you wouldn't really say, did they enjoy the home advantage? I think the players know what they needed the most. They're already staring it in their face that, look, they're going to miss out for the World Cup for the second consecutive time. I mean, you don't have a 48 countries World Cup, and you don't have a team like Nigeria there, because there's room for more. So that's the beauty. Since there's room for more, I think that actually just helped, help the Super Eagles to understand that, yes, if they're able to do this, definitely, if they win this, it's easy. Win, and of course, once you win, you know where you're going. Either you get into the playoffs, which there's an opportunity for you, or you go ahead, or you finish at the top of the group. But result didn't go the way of the Super Eagles, and that's the reason where we are right now in the playoffs.
Well, Cecilia, it's very interesting how you actually paint that picture. But I want us to maybe drill down a bit to the players themselves. Yes, we didn't have the current African Footballer of the Year, Lukman, in that match yesterday, but Osimhen rose up to the occasion. Come on, those goals were just beautiful to see. Frank Oyeka put the cherry on top towards the end. But a lot of people are now doing analysis of our team in that sense, and they're wondering who should stay, who should go, who should we speak to. From the goalkeeper, Nwabali, a lot of people had issues with him. From the previous match to this last match, I don't know if it's his temperament or whatever, cost us a goal, could have cost us another goal yesterday. You recall, dropping the ball and the Benin player just kicked it into the net. Thankfully, the referee said, well, this is an infringement. This is a free kick, so it doesn't count anyway. And then our defense as well, the midfield and the strike force. Let's drill down to some of the players you would want to maybe see improve, some you want us to keep, and some you maybe want us to add into the team. Cecilia.
Yeah, I think we obviously, all the players that played, we saw what Samuel Chukwueze, sometimes because of the way he acts and the way he plays, sometimes you feel that he's not one of those players that wants to give you the best. But for what happened in the game, last night, I think he came to the party. Really, he came to the party in the sense that he knew what was at stake, and then he had to work with that. And not just in Moses Simon. Check the assist that all the goals that Victor Osimhen scored. It was Samuel Chukwueze gave 2 assists. Moses Simon also giving assists. So these players, when they know what is at stake, really, I think there's really nothing different from what we've been doing. The difference is, they just came to the party. They understand what was at stake, and then they decided to play. Because sometimes when you have players who I don't know the words used right now, players who feel, okay, this is, they don't put in everything. We just feel that we can always have players who, one way or the other, want to give in their best. And that's exactly what they did, giving their best. So if you have players who can come on the field of play, giving their best, throwing everything in, knowing that there's something at stake. Because we always say we have the best players, the best group of players in the world. But if these players usually don't pull their weight on the field of play, that's where you don't get result. But once they pull their weight on the field of play, that's when you get the result. All of them that played the game last night, understood what they needed to do. And I think that's actually what worked for everyone. That's what worked for them. So if you know that, yes, you're playing from the right, you're playing from the left, from the wings, from the attack, everyone decided to like just play your game. You know, it works better really. When you know there's something right there in your face. I remember the game against Ghana where we were going to qualify for the World Cup. The players played as if they were not in a hurry. They acted as if this is none of their business. We didn't see the fight. We didn't see that tenacity, you know, that resilience, throwing everything in, except Victor Osimhen, who was ready to literally die on the field of play in that game against Ghana. But we saw what the rest were doing. But now, what we saw against Benin Republic, we could see the fight. We could see that, you know, right from the first blast of the whistle. You know, the coach, Richel, always tell the players that what they need to do, when most of his press conferences, what we need to do is for us to score first in the first half, score at least 2 goals. And 3 minutes into the game, and they scored. So just imagine if this is how they've been playing. If the same players, except just that we didn't have Osimhen in most of the games that we played. When we played against Benin, we didn't have Osimhen. But do we really need Victor Osimhen to actually beat teams like Lesotho, teams like Zimbabwe, you know, teams like Benin Republic? That's some of the questions you actually need to ask us. If Osimhen is not there, what happens next?
Yeah, and just before we wrap up, Cecilia, earlier on, Cardia and I were talking about, you know, this lack of preparation, the lackadaisical attitude towards big international tournaments. So it's like a rehashing of the similar conversation of what we have said before. But what should we begin to do differently such that, you know, we can have, you know, a characterization all through of our matches of what transpired on the field of play yesterday?
Okay, I think the attitude changes when you know that there's something to lose. You know, you wouldn't want to make history in the negative way. Nigeria has never failed to qualify for back-to-back World Cup, so that changed. And number two, if you check when Finidi George was in charge of the Super Eagles of Nigeria, some of the players literally went on to say that. In the sense that the way they stroll into camp, you have maybe 2 players trickling in. The next day you have like 4 or 5, and they have one full training session, one full one. The others they have just maybe they tell you 12 players train today, and maybe 18 players train the next day, and then a day before the game, that's when you have full complement of all the players. So that attitude change that happens in this one, we didn't see that. Just imagine we've seen it from the beginning of the qualifiers. We wouldn't be here talking about qualifiers, how we need to go to Morocco, how we need to play Gabon, how we need to also go play Intercontinental, play the likes of Bolivia, teams from Oceania, teams from, you know, CONCACAF, and also teams from Asia. So we won't be thinking about that. What we need to be doing now is to be preparing for the Nations Cup in December. Now they understand what is here. The journey is starting in November. There's another one in March before you talk about the World Cup. And in between, there's actually the Africa Cup of Nations. So it's a whole lot. They understand what it is right now. And they know that the only way forward is for them to, literally die on the field of play whenever they're playing any game. And also play the games as if it's the final match. Indeed. That's the only way. Because you're looking at their age. You say, yes, we have a young crop of players. But if you miss out of this World Cup, it's another 4 years.
It's another 4 years, yes.
These players be?
Indeed, Cecilia, I want us to quickly listen to our former coach, Get Up Raw, because it was meant, he came yesterday to put Pepe in our eyes, but Nigeria said no. We're in Uyo, we're in Nigeria. So let's take a listen to Get Up Raw and Nigeria's coach, and we'll wind down on this.
We had to win here. I tell it again, because South Africa won also, and even with a draw, we are not qualified. So what happened is that Nigeria today made a very good match, and I must say that they deserve this result. We tried to play football. We had a good possession also. We had some opportunities. We had some shoots on the goal, but today was not a lucky day for my team. If we score, that's what we said in halftime. If we score a goal now, they can have a doubt in the team, because we saw all the other qualifiers. When Nigeria conceded the goal, even in the last game in Lesotho, there were a little bit of nervosity in the team. That's why we hope to score again, but you concede the third goal. And then I think they had the target from the goal difference to go to the playoffs, to score another one. So that was the motivation, and the dynamic of the game was on their side already after the first goal. That was very difficult for my young team today.
It's okay, cannot roll. We still love you. But let's take a listen to Nigeria's coach, current coach now, Eric Shell.
This is my last question. I will answer. After that, we can just ask some question to Skipo, to the captain. I'm so proud of my players. They deserved this game because it was not easy with a new coach, with a new philosophy, to acclimate really faster. So now we go to Morocco. This is not finished. This is the beginning. It will be very, very, very difficult. So tonight I'm just happy for my player. They played a great game 2 hours ago. They played a great game 3 days ago. And like I said before in the last conference press, thanks God. Thanks God because you are here. And I'm happy for the fans because they bring us the victory. They start to help us to push us to take this victory. The player played a very great game, especially the best striker in the world. The best striker in the world.
We all know who he's talking about. I like that, the way he's hyping his players. But Cecilia, final point here. Do you now think we deserve to go to the World Cup? Final point.
I still don't. As a journalist, I feel we don't deserve to be at the World Cup. But as a Nigerian, yes, we do deserve to be at the World Cup because we can afford to lose back to back. Yes. Yeah. Just imagine we played like this when the qualifier started. I mean, we'll all be singing and dancing like South Africa, Ghana, Morocco, Tunisia, and all other teams that qualified automatically. 9 sports automatic qualification, and we are going to go into playoffs.
We just had to choose the hard way. But I like the way you balance it as a journalist and a Nigerian. Cecilia, always good to speak with you. Wish the Super Eagles the very best. It looks like it's when we're pushed against the wall that we'll get the very best result. So we look forward to the playoffs. Yes, it will be a very daunting task, but I think they can do it. There you go. So congratulations, at least half congratulations. We'll do the full one when we qualify. But we'll take a moment now. And when we return, there was a motion moved on the floor of the House of Representatives yesterday to convert some apartments, some buildings which were forfeited in the case against the former CBN governor. Now, the idea is to convert those apartments into housing for IDPs. Poor Nigerians. What is the thinking behind that? What will be the modality? Well, we have the member who raised that motion joining us in a moment. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, and as we move to the next leg of our conversation, of course, the tone has already been set earlier on, just before we went on break. Recall that in December 2024, if I got that correctly, the EFCC had recovered a massive expanse of estates linked to former CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele amid that ongoing trial. And there had been moves, to hand over the estate to the Ministry of Housing. Now a motion has been moved for the estate to be allocated to low-income, middle-income Nigerians, and in fact, IDPs. The author of that motion before the House of Reps yesterday joins us now for more on this, and he is Honorable Leko Gambo, representing Bogoro Das, Tafawa Balewa Federal Constituency in Bauchi State. He joins us from our Abuja studio. Good morning and thank you for joining us, Honorable Gambo.
Good morning, and thank you for having me this morning in your studio.
Yes, and as we start off, tell us what informed that motion.
Well, thank you very much. I think, first of all, let me appreciate the President of Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Senator Ahmad Bola Tinubu, and of course the EFCC and the judiciary, because without their intervention, we wouldn't have been here discussing this very important motion. Well, you know, as a responsible representative, the Constitution of Federal Republic of Nigeria, Section 88 and 89, as amended 1999, has empowers the National Assembly to make laws, oversight persons, authorities, and MDS, which has to do with public funding, public asset, and this oversight is, you know, to ensure accountability, which is fundamental to, you know, legislative oversight function. And that is what informed me in bringing in this motion. The motion basically is talking about the need for transparent and equitable, you know, allocation of forfeited houses, which was handed over to, you know, the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development in May this year. So for me, from May till date is about 6 months, which is a very long time. And as a responsible representative, I came up at the National Assembly so that the few elite will not take advantage of those houses. I could remember during the time of President Shehu Shagari, there is a program of low cost for low, you know, income earners. So, and I was specific in my motion. I suggested that these houses should be prioritized to, you know, be given to low-income earners, which we can find in the, you know, civil service. I also suggested that we should also consider the IDPs, which were affected by natural disasters. I also consider vulnerable Nigerians. And you know, as also enshrined in the Constitution, is the responsibility of government at all levels to, you know, ensure welfare of citizens, which shelter is one of them. And I think that is what informed me to come up with this very important motion.
Right, and I recall that there was this inspection by the EFCC in May, and there was also plans in motion for the federal government to sell the houses to low, middle-income Nigerians. I don't know if you are aware of that, the plans to sell that estate, 753 housing units, which was recovered by the EFCC, to sell them to, you know, low and middle-income Nigerians. So is this your own motion different? Is it in line with what is already in the works? Are you aware of that? Maybe you can speak to that as well. But what would the modality be ultimately, according to your own motion?
Yes, what I am emphasizing is basically I make mention of transparent and equitable, you know, process whereby it will be all-inclusive, because that is just a statement. But I emphasize, or the House emphasized, that yes, of course, we agree with the suggestion they made, but we want the House to be fully aware of the process of selection of those individuals that are going to be, beneficiaries. And the House is, trying to caution maybe a situation whereby few elite will now take advantage. And that is why we insisted that they should develop and publish the framework on selecting those that are going to be the beneficiary of those houses. And again, those houses are duplexes. I know it may be a little bit expensive, but at the discretion of the president, he handed over this property to the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development, who are experts. I think what they should do forward is to also redesign those houses so that it will be affordable. And, government can also subsidize, that property in order to help the low income and vulnerable Nigerians.
Now, the houses, 753 units of them, according to report, are located in Lokogoma in the Federal Capital Territory. Now, that is a relatively highbrow area in the Federal Capital. What's your own idea of affordable for low and middle income earners? That's on the one hand. Perhaps you should take that first before I follow up.
Well, today, if you look at Zone 6 and Wuse 2, Area 10, Area 2 are more highbrow than the Lokogoma. But as I told you earlier, it's enshrined in the Constitution that government at all levels has to ensure the welfare of citizens of the Federation. So government can subsidize, and they can redesign those houses to make them 2-3 bedroom. And there are programs of government that facilitate, these low-income earners to get accommodation. That was done during President Obasanjo regime, and I think it's very, very possible we have a president who listens, who is an elder statesman, who is concerned about, the citizen of this country. So I believe, I think it's in line with what even the agency has suggested.
But would redesigning and subsidizing, we then mean the houses would be in the range of 10 million, 20 million? Because civil servants across board may be watching and, expressing interest. So what price do you have in mind?
Well, to be honest with you, I'm not an expert in that sector, but I know there is nothing that is not possible by government. Any responsible government consider it citizen and will give priority to citizens as welfare. So, but I don't want to come up with an idea of price. But part of what part of the mandate the president gave the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development is to complete those houses. So, and I think redesigning cannot be an issue.
And that's a point, very important point. The Ministry of Housing and Urban Development said that they were going to go through this process in quote transparently. It will be on their website. That's where people will apply for it. That was as at May. This is October now. We're nearing the end of the year. And perhaps you can speak to us about the interface, if there's been any interface, because I know that this matter was also referred to the Committee on Housing and Habitat to liaise with the ministry to ensure the allocation process follows principles of equity, fairness, and transparency, and report back. So what do we know from what is going on already at the ministry? Because as you said, we've had cases before that what happens is certain few elites or privileged individuals who are close to the source get these things for themselves and then resell it. It happens a lot. Some say it's just strictly business, but some others say, well, there are real people who need this. Let them have access. So where is the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development? Where are they in this process, if you have an idea?
Well, let me correct the point. I am not saying few elite that are close are taking advantage, but I said I don't want the few elite to take advantage of this. As a responsible house, I want us to be aware of the process. As you earlier mentioned, the ministry make an pronouncement, which, to my knowledge, up till today, I cannot find it anywhere. That is why we emphasize that the ministry should develop a national database of all forfeited, properties, which, has a mechanism of tracking. Also, we suggested that for transparency and public trust, we also need civil society to be involved. And this is exactly what my motion is talking about. So far, from May till date, I am not aware of anywhere where the process or, if there is any available website where you can check and see the process and procedure of getting that and the criteria of people that are supposed to be the beneficiaries. And this is exactly what we are interested.
And during that inspection that Kayode mentioned earlier, the Ministry of Housing did speak about the Renewed Hope portal that would be open to enable the process at the time that the decision was made that, the units would be sold. But following your motion now, you mentioned low-income, middle-income earners, and in fact IDPs for these houses to be allocated to. So in ensuring that the process is democratized so that it's not only available to perhaps federal civil servants, perhaps other low-income earners and other IDPs, what is the approach to ensuring that it is democratized so that workers across board and the vulnerable can access this? What's your eligibility criteria looking like to ensure that the process is seamless?
Oh, I think we are asking the same question. I'm also asking the Federal Ministry of Housing and Urban Development to tell us what are the criteria, who are those that are supposed to benefit. Because I will not be able to answer this question because that is not my responsibility. It's purely the responsibility of Ministry of Housing and Urban Development. I also need that answer. So, and that is exactly part of the reason why I raised that motion. And I was given all the support, the floor by my honorable colleagues.
Yeah, so in oversighting, what's the recommendation of the committee to ensure that the Ministry of Housing makes it as democratic as possible?
Yes, of course. That is why I suggested that they should institutionalize a national database of all forfeited, properties, whereby everybody will have, with mechanism of tracking those, properties, and also give us the criteria of those who are supposed to be the beneficiaries. That's exactly what the House want, the, Federal Ministry of Housing need to do for transparency and also to develop public trust.
All right, Honorable, as we wind down, you wear other caps aside this motion that you raised. You also the deputy chair, I believe, of NDDC in the House of Reps. You've spoken about that. You're from Bauchi State, right? And there's a lot of politicking in the build-up to 2027. And I wonder for you what your own projections are in terms of all of the harvests we're having into the APC now. Just yesterday, the governor of Enugu State is joined the APC, is now a member. We hear that some other governors are joining. What are your predictions ahead of 2027, particularly as a member of the ruling party? The governor in your state is a PDP governor. But APC members are saying there are more governors joining.
Well, I think, first of all, kudos to His Excellency, the President of Federal Republic of Nigeria. I think they are not just coming in because the President is excellently doing well. And as I earlier mentioned, is an elder statesman, is the President who listened. You know, apart from this, there was a time in 2023, I moved also a motion on the, use of Chinese yuan. Some of my colleagues came up and trying to criticize that, but I emphasize that that should have to be done to mitigate, the pressure on Naira. Today, the President has listened, and, that has been effectively taking place. So, and I want to assure you, people are not just coming in because they are seeing what the President is doing. His campaign promises already, we have achieving a lot. And by God's grace, more governors are coming to join us because of the, commitment and the passion the President has for this country.
Well, we wonder if the governor of your state believes the same, but don't answer that. We must anchor at this point, and thank you very much for your time on the program. We've been talking with Honorable Leko Gambo, a member representing Bogoro Das, Tafawa Balewa Federal Constituency in Bauchi State. Thank you for your time on the program.
Thank you so much, and I appreciate you. I look more of this opportunity to come and speak with you.
Indeed, and we'll extend it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll take a moment now. When we return, it'll be time to expand more on the political talking points earlier established as we wound down. And that would be the defections from the PDP to the APC, the latest being that of the governor of Enugu State. We'll be hearing from the PDP. Stay with us for this one. We'll be right back.
So let's talk party politics. We're joined on the program by the National Publicity Secretary of the Opposition People's Democratic Party, Mr. Debo Ologunagba. He's live with us from our Abuja studio. Good morning, Mr. Ologunagba. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, very welcome this morning. I'm here. I'm proud to be here. Thank you. Good morning.
I must say you're very strong, because I don't know how you're able to pull up that smile. Because one of the headlines said, PDP bleeds. You just lost the last governor in the southeast. How are you still able to smile, Mr. Ologunagba? That's a big loss for the PDP.
Yeah, thank you so much, Cowdy. It's nice to be here again. I think when you talk about smile, hope is a superpower, and that's what we believe in. But beyond all of that, what is important, and the Nigerian must know that the PDP is a broad-based party, and the PDP is based on policies, programs, a mission statement that defines the party. So, it is based on the people. So, why not discounting the importance of governors or leaders of the party at different levels? The strength of the PDP is in the people. And that's why we talk about the name, which actually reflects what the party means. The People's Democratic Party. So, yes, we could be concerned, and we will be concerned by when we have a governor, for instance, leaving the party. But we are not daunted by that, because the strength of the party is in the people. This is the only party in this country today that has followership and membership across every section of this country, from the units to the wards, to the local government, to the zones, to the states, and of course at the national. So that is our own comfort. While recognizing that there are challenges within the party, we are encouraged by the followership of the ordinary Nigerians and the fact that majority of Nigerians want democracy and they don't want one party state. So what you see playing out by way of the wave of defection is not because it is based on policy, on conviction, or on some other programs of the APC that is attractive. It is induced, one, by personal considerations, some of which we don't know. Secondly, by intimidation. Third, by coercion. And some by threat to governors or members of House of Reps or the senators. So those are the challenges. So knowing the strength of our party, that is in the people, of course, so I'll continue to smile and I'll come out to tell you that Nigerians can look up to PDP, having regards to our performance in the past for 16 years. And more importantly, the fact that we're moving methodically, steadily, and laser focus on our convention at Ibadan, because that's the foundation of party politics. So you must have a structure that can produce candidates that can win elections. And so that's where we are. And that explains what your own observation, and I thank you for that compliment.
I must commend your strength that you've shown this morning. But beyond the external factors that you have attributed to this defection, is the PDP also looking inwards? And I ask this because Mr. Ode Okoye, a chieftain of your party who was in contention for the position of national secretary, has also dumped your party. And is this a consequence of your party's handling of the issue of the national secretaryship position? And we've seen the consequence play out in the threat of the Southeast to leave the PDP en masse.
Yeah, thank you very much for this question, because it goes to the root of party politics. Now, a party is free exit and free entry. But in all of this, what makes a political party is the fact that it's a combination and a collection of people with different interests, different backgrounds, different consideration, and in such, what we find is a contestation of ideas, and the views of people, of course, will clash. But it's the capacity of a party, properly so-called, and more especially PDP, is its capacity in trying times like this to come up and come together and reconcile those differences. But never forget, if there are considerations other than the fact that we should have the basis for reconciliation, people, because of what is powering their ambition or their desire, will always find reasons to leave. In the Southeast, we recognize there was a problem. And the party took its time over the last 1 year or so to try to connect to people and say, you know what, let's get and have a win-win situation. Yes, we may not get everything that we want, but if people have made up their mind to leave for those considerations I referenced earlier, they will leave anyway. But like I said, and I'm going to emphasize that, this party is not about individual or group of individuals or people that say, oh, we can bring it down. But one thing is important, and just you know this. 6 months down the road, people were saying, oh, the PDP is dead. And my question has always been, if the PDP is truly dead, why are people interested in its affairs? It means there's a nostalgia, there's a connection between us, the PDP, and the Nigerian people. They recognize that in 16 years of PDP in this country, we were moving as a nation forward. We are the best economy in Africa. Nigeria was the first destination for investment, foreign investment. The capital market was the best. GDP was growing on double digits. Inflation was down. We could compare, our external reserves are grown. and we paid off our debt. So that is the no side, and that's what the connection. That is the interest between the Nigerian people and PDP. So we are confident about that, and we're moving forward with that. I can guarantee you that with our National Convention taking place in Ibadan on the 15th and 16th of November, that's why you find the hysteria among the APC, and of course we must admit there are some people from within our fold that continues to undermine the party and its progress. We recognize that. We're dealing with that. I compare this to a situation where you have a madman in a china shop. You must be methodical. You must be deliberate in trying to exit that. There are two levels of cancer. The one that is malignant, which is constantly within you and metastasizes every time, and the one that gets out. When it gets out, it's better than if it stays malignant. But in removing the malignant one, you must be careful about how you do the surgical operation. As a party, we are focused on the Nigerian people. We don't want to put too much premium on the individual because the party is not based on individual, it's based on the people. And that's our strength. And we're going to go into Ibadan, coming out victoriously with a brand new national working committee that will continue to set the affairs of the party. Because you must have a party before you even talk about candidates. So that's what we want to do. Create a very solid foundation, find the people that will have character, integrity, and capacity, and courage to run the affairs of the party so that Nigerians can then have a choice. We don't want a one-party state. That is across the board. It's universal. But again, we as a people, as a party, must do that which we need to so that Nigerians can have confidence, and that's exactly what we're doing. In the last 4 months, you can see the hysteria. People, and we expect that we throw more stones at us and rocks at us because we're doing the right thing. All members of our party are together. We're coming as a body, as a family of PDP, going into Ibadan from every part of this country. People are excited going to that convention to ensure that we have, and that's why the G3 signals you get from APC and all the accomplices within our fold. But we will weather this storm. We've gone this route before. We've gone this route before, and this is a message to Nigerians. And I give an example. The winning of an election in any state is not about a governor. Governor you can't discount. Governors are important because they're leaders of the party. However, there are examples in this country. And I give an example of this, and this is exactly what will play out in 2027. When you say, oh, PDP is dead, then you come back up and will defeat the ruling government. I give you an example. In Oyo State 2017, 2018, the story was, oh, PDP is gone. But because the strength is in the people came together and voted to have a PDP governor in 2019, Governor Seyi Makinde. In Ondo State, where I come from, in 2019, we had 0 members in the House of the Senate.
Right.
We have 1 member in the House of Representatives. But even at that, we came back up and won 2 seats from the Senate.
All right.
That tells you the power of the people and the strength of the capacity of the membership of the party at the grassroots level, because that's where the power is.
Well, Mr. Olugmagba, yes, you've made some points, but the big question now is whether the PDP is really in tune with reality. When you look inwards, there was a statement yesterday saying the NEC meeting, which was meant to hold, has been postponed. You have issues in court. The national chairman and the national legal advisor are at loggerheads over who should provide legal representation for the party in the build-up to the national convention. We just talked about the lawmaker, not even the governor now, a lawmaker, a senator who left the party. And we hear that even more governors are leaving the PDP. So I wonder if you are really in tune with reality, if you have woken up to smell the coffee. And I'll take a quote from Governor Peter Mba of Enugu State while he was announcing his defection. He said, for decades, the Southeast, especially Enugu, has stood firmly behind the PDP, showing loyalty that shaped the party's success. Yet, he says, despite this history, our voices were too often disregarded when it mattered most. So this speaks to a deep seated issue that has lasted for a long time. Is PDP in tune with this reality? Because you seem to say we're fine, we'll defeat the APC, when the evidence points to the contrary.
Yeah, Kari, thank you for this conversation. I referenced earlier on my background about the fact that what makes a political party and the composition of political parties. This party must recognize, and that's clear, about the contribution of the Southeast Zone from 1999 to date, and we cannot and we must not discount that. But I said to you, the Southeast too, because I'm not going to begin to join issue with whoever says a particular thing on the issue of whether a particular zone has got much more than it deserves. I don't want to go into statistics, but it is clear that the Southeast too have held very responsible positions in this party. Senate presidents, speakers, deputy speakers, and of course, we don't want to go into that. We want to look forward. We recognize that, yes, the Southeast genuinely would have concern, just like every part of this country would have concern about, the feeling of marginalization or the thought of it. But having said that, what we are concerned about right now is to begin to rebuild based on the people, latching on our achievement in 16 years. Because in 2027, the election will be between the APC and the Nigerian people. It's not so much about political party, but of course you need a platform to contest. But the contestation will be on the basis of records. What is the records of this APC in the last 10 years? It's there, you can compare. Is it insecurity? Is it the fact that people can no longer afford their livelihood? Is it the discounting policies, life discounting policies of the APC? Is it the fact that every day we are more and more into debt and the future is not guaranteed by any means? You can't even explain it. Is it because we borrow money recklessly to the point that we're having an issue that we don't even know, we've lost count of how much we're owing as a country? Is it because we borrow money to fund consumptions rather than investment? These are the issues that will be on the ballot. For the Southeast, we're concerned, and we worked hard, and we continue to work hard, keep engaged. The issues raised are, of course, germane, but that does not take away the fact that the grassroots, even in the Southeast, that the people of the Southeast do know that yes, are they at the best of the PDP? The answer will be no. Just like across the country, we can do more. But the fact that cannot be the singular reason for leaving. I've identified some of the several reasons why people would defect. It could be intimidation, it could be harassment, it could be other personal considerations, many of which we may probably not know. And as to the fact that people decamp, people will leave party anyway. They will. And it's not just only limited or only constrained to the PDP. The fact is that there's a deliberate action by the government, and the president has said it openly, that you wish to have a one-party state. But that will be a pipe dream because a one-party state cannot survive and cannot be sustained in Nigeria. So we are working on our party, and that's why we're focused, laser focused on the convention. When you have the foundation, then we can begin to build the building blocks, and then we'll come back to what Nigerians used to know about the PDP. And I can assure you, my optimism is based on the work we do at the grassroots, which is where the power resides. It is not in an individual or group of individuals or a zone. It is the combination of all that will make the PDP succeed in 2027. They will continue to imagine that, PDP is in trouble, just like they did in Oyo State in 2017 and 2018. And what happened? We came out. Then to reference the point you made about the court case, I'm a lawyer. It would be wrong for me to begin to speak to a matter that is sub judice in court. But having said that, it must be clear that the chief executive officer of the party is the chairman of the party. And irrespective of whoever believes he has a particular role or the other, the chairman has the overriding powers to delegate or to direct and to superintend and manage the affairs of the party. What plays out is beyond the issue of the constitution. We can say behind the scene, like I said, this is in court. I can't make comment on that because it will be sub judice, it will be disrespectful of the court, and I do not intend to be engaged in that. Right. But I can tell you this, whoever believes he has a particular role, right, we should be working together, and people should recognize that the time, the name in history will be important depending on whatever decision and the action they take.
All right. The governor of Oyo State, Engineer Seyi Makinde, has asked the public to, ensure that, to hold him responsible if the coming national convention of the party does not hold. That's on the one hand. But let's now walk down memory lane and ask if Nigerians, and indeed members of the PDP, can trust his stated unwavering commitment to the party. I ask this because if we go back down the disagreement that trailed the presidential candidacy of the party ahead of the 2023 general elections, he was one of the G5 governors that held strategic meetings with the current president back then. And we saw the result in Oyo State, we saw the result in Rivers State and in the other states that worked with the APC at the time. So why should we trust him now and rely on what he says about his undying commitments to the PDP now?
Well, Engineer Seyi Makinde has been an outstanding governor. He has performed. He has said things that he has kept. And to that extent, we have no reason to doubt his commitment at this point. Not as he just said it, he has demonstrated that severally. Now, without relitigating what happened in 2023, there were issues that has to do with bringing everybody together and having what I call inclusiveness. That is in the past, but it will help us to navigate the future. But after that, the commitment of the governor of Oyo State to PDP has been monumental. The commitment and support of the party. And this is just, it's obvious. It's not what he says. It's what we see him do. And it is there, obvious, and we know that because we feel it. He has said it publicly that he will be committed and is committed to a successful convention at Ibadan. That's what we're focused on. We have every reason to believe him. He has demonstrated capacity. He has shown commitment by words and by deed. So we have no issue with that. We are focused on Ibadan. Look, all of these rocks and bricks we throw at the party, externally and painfully from within, people that are complicit from within our ranks, of course we must admit that, is the fact that we are making sure progress was convention. And the whole thing is to make sure that, we don't hold this convention. But we believe that because of the sustenance of democracy, and the courts too do know that they have a duty to ensure that democracy survives in this country. They will do that which is right, which is just and fair in the circumstances, to ensure that democracy survives. And to the president, he must know that there's a responsibility on him to ensure that a multi-plural, multi-ethnic society like Nigeria could have opportunity for people to express themselves. They might not agree with you, but you must be able to listen to them and allow them operate in their own way so that there will be the development of democracy and that we can have a viral nation. What is going on today is taking us away completely from the failures of the government. So it's like the government is planning to deflect us from the real issues. Every time we're talking about PDP or Labour Party or another party or ANPP, and we're losing the focus on the government that has failed us. We cannot provide us security, which cannot provide us welfare, which does not care about us, which will have a different program relating to personal improvement rather than the community and the global improvement of Nigerian lives. The president can find it comfortable to go to attend burial ceremony, which is okay, we must honor the dead.
Right.
But he won't find the confidence to go to see people that were killed as a result of marauders ravaging Nigerian life. I mean, those are the disconnect. And you must be able to say that those are the issues that will be on the ballot in 2027.
All right.
The president has said some time ago should stop this endorsement shopping or this defection shopping. We will defect, we will give you this. That will not help in the election 27. The election 27 is between the APC and the Nigerian people, having regards to all this monumental failure of the APC in government.
Well, Mr. Olugbagba, are you aware that 2 more governors are leaving?
Well, I'll be hearing that from you. I'm not aware. They don't consult me if they're going to leave, so I probably won't be able to aware. Maybe, you know, you are in a vantage position, maybe you have that information. You can tell me.
So if you had this moment to speak to the governors who are intending to leave your party or who have left already in their hearts, that is, what would you be telling them, Mr. Olugbagba?
What I'll be telling them is to say, you know what? You have a responsibility to this party that have provided you platform, and the people have voted for you based on the policies and the programs of the PDP that you campaign upon, and to recognize that you have a duty, you have a role to ensure that democracy survives in this country and that we don't slip into one-party state, because the consequences will be too great for this country, and they should recognize their places in history.
Mr. Olugbagba, can you say confidently that the PDP's house is currently in order? And I speak against the backdrop of the court case my colleague referred to earlier. I know you don't want to speak to that, but in a generic sense, the reports are that some of the issues within your party is as a result of the national chairman, who, according to reports, is beholden to the former governor of Rivers State and current minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, who also, according to reports, is not particularly in good relations with the governor of Oyo State, who is taking charge now. And are you saying that you can rely on what he has said that he would do for the party because, you know, of the resources that he is now releasing to fund the party?
I mean, this is interesting about Charlie. I mean, you've got great journalists. I'm sure you do a lot of background check. I don't have some of the information you're giving to me, but I can tell you one thing. One thing I can tell you. This party, yes, we have our challenges. We can't run away from that. But I've referenced that about challenges even from within. But when you say somebody is beholden to somebody, I can't speak to that because I'm not the person. You probably will ask the chairman, but I can tell you this. The chairman is focused in stabilizing this party and ensuring that this party goes to convention and have a very successful convention. For Governor Makinde has demonstrated leadership capacity and commitment to this party. I will leave it at that. I'm not going to begin to imagine what people think or analysts imagine with regards to who is controlling what. This party has a national working committee. Leaders across the board, governors, other stakeholders, this assist the party from time to time to ensure that we have a successful convention. That is the foundation. That's our focus right now. We're laser focused on that. There will be so many bricks and rocks will be thrown at us. We know that. But I tell you this party is determined to have a successful convention. That's why you see all of these distractions.
All right.
That's why you see that. Why would people go to court to sue the party? We are talking about officials of the party, supposedly chairman of the party in this case, suing the national that you can't even conduct your own affairs. Isn't that funny? But again, those are the challenges of leadership, those are challenges of managing human beings in a political party where you have different views, different ideas, different interests. You must try to have that capacity to reconcile that. We're doing that. Is it fast enough that we will have loved? No. But again, this is the challenges of human organization.
All right.
But I can tell you this. The success of our convention in Ibadan and the fact that we're moving steadily, methodically towards that, a successful convention, is what has brought about all of these sudden throwing of rocks and stones at us. But we're focused and we're going to Ibadan steadily to ensure that we have a party with solid foundation, known for its capacity to put itself together in trying times and create a party that people can rely on and can run and win election under their platform.
Right, we have about 30 seconds to close. Do you feel betrayed by the Enugu State governor and possibly the other governors who would leave?
Like that. Betrayal? We think they have a responsibility. That's what I would say.
All right. So you don't feel betrayed?
They should recognize the fact. We believe that people, when you have position of authority that have been given to you, you have a responsibility to decide that. And that, for me, I'm not going to judge anybody. They have that to deal with, and history will determine whether at the appropriate time, whether given the circumstances of what has happened, whether that will be the right decision they have taken at the appropriate time. And that's their choice. But they can live with that and deal with that.
Mr. Lugwagba, do you feel betrayed?
By who?
By Governor Umba leaving the PDP. Do you feel betrayed?
Anyway, again, this is a very smart way. You're asking me to answer a question that I've answered again.
No, you've not answered. It's a yes or no.
I speak for a party.
Does the PDP feel betrayed?
I speak for a party.
So does the PDP feel betrayed?
The PDP is utterly disappointed.
All right.
By those actions, having regards to what we know behind the scene. They haven't said that. People have a right to decide what they want to do.
Indeed.
The consequences can follow. But again, that is a choice they have.
Indeed.
Either to stay or to leave.
And you also have the choice to decide to leave the PDP at some point, too. I mean, we won't be surprised if that happens, Mr. Lugwagba. But we have to thank you for your time on the program.
Thank you, Gary.
Never say never. Today you may be PDP, tomorrow APC. Mr. Digmo Lugwagba is the National Publicity Secretary of the opposition PDP. How many governors do you have now? 9, I believe.
We have 9, yeah.
Wow.
Yes, 9.
All right. Thank you for your time. Wish you the very best with the convention and the fight as opposition.
Thank you very much, Rowdy. And thank you to your colleague there. I appreciate your time and thank you for the opportunity.
All right. Well, we'll take a quick break now, and when we return, we'll talk about energy, electricity, particularly for the rural areas, and a lot of innovation happening in that space. That's in a moment. Stay with us.
Welcome back. And as we switch gears now, we're looking at energy solutions. Just before that, we know food preservation is critical to food security, but is less talked about. Now let's talk about climate-friendly solutions to domestic food preservation. And joining us from our Abuja studio this morning to look at this is Priti Saudatu Boboy. She's the project manager, UNEP Off-Grid Refrigeration Guideline Implementation Program of the Rural Electrification Agency. Good morning and welcome to the program, Ms. Boboy.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
And for those who are just hearing about climate-friendly solutions to domestic refrigeration, and they're wondering, what does that even mean? Perhaps you want to explain to them.
Of course. So this program that we're working on is called the Off-Grid Refrigeration Guidelines Pilot Implementation Program. And this is a program that's being implemented by the Rural Electrification Agency of Nigeria in partnership with the United Nations Environment Program. And we're aiming to catalyze the widespread adoption of climate-friendly, energy-efficient refrigeration solutions for rural communities And this is to help them to be able to access affordable and reliable refrigeration solutions so that they're able to preserve their food, to store their medicines safely, to grow their businesses and preserve their farm produce so that it lasts longer. So in a nutshell, we are trying to help rural communities have the power to cool properly.
Oh, that's great to hear. And you know, I have learned in my work that sometimes the longer the term, the more important it is. So off-grid refrigeration guidelines pilot implementation program. Lengthy, but it's very important because as Bukola said, food preservation is really important. We know how important that is, right? And looking at the trend, we see that refrigeration is among the most energy-intensive uses. In the projection, I think that by 2050, the ownership of refrigerators in Nigeria will increase from 12 million, which it is as of 2020, to 68 million. So you can imagine the pressure on our energy grid, the pressure on the environment as well. So maybe help us understand how this fits into the Rural Electrification Agency's core mandate of energy access.
Yeah, you've hit the nail on the head right there. And so when we're speaking about Rural Electrification Agency's core mandate, the main objective is for us to ensure there is access to electricity to every single Nigerian, regardless of where they live. And this program that we're implementing is supporting that by allowing rural communities to make the most of this electricity that we are providing to them, by ensuring that the electricity is not just for lighting homes, but also for achieving productive use that helps to grow their economies, to enhance food security, as well as improve their health facilities, etc. So this program, in a nutshell, helps the REA's objectives to be achieved, but also goes the extra mile of ensuring that energy access creates impact as well.
Yeah, we've heard that this is part of UNEP's United for Efficiency model guidelines. Now, could you explain what these guidelines are and how it will help, Nigerians access it?
Thank you for that question. So the United for Efficiency guidelines are these best practices that were created by the United Nations Environment Programme, and they help countries to be able to assess which refrigerators are compliant with the energy efficient and goals that we have. So the guidelines help to create sort of best practices to be able to choose safe, efficient, and energy efficient, safe, and clean technologies for refrigeration solutions. So here in Nigeria with this program, what we're trying to do is take these global best practices and apply them to Nigeria's real life scenarios in rural communities so that we can test the impact of using these fridges and figure out whatever problems could arise from testing it in the real world so that it can be fine-tuned for eventual scale-up. And eventually we want every single community in Nigeria to have access to these energy-efficient, climate-friendly refrigerators.
Amazing. So I'm thinking of the possibilities or the impact of this, not just food preservation, it not only curbs post-harvest losses. I'm thinking of preservation of medicine, vaccines, because we lose a lot as a result of that. You know, vaccines need certain temperatures to keep them viable. But what happens is, because there isn't power or refrigeration solutions, those vaccines no longer are potent. So I'm really curious about the next step. So I'm envisioning that refrigerator, right? And I imagine a lot of Nigerians are envisioning it right now and thinking, this is what I need. This is the solution to my problem. So what are the next steps?
Right. So at the moment, what we're doing here at the REA is a pilot program. And we are currently trying to do some feasibility studies in select communities across the country to be able to collect relevant on-the-field data and understand the cooling gaps and cooling needs of these communities. We're also going to carry out some trainings for the community members to create some awareness for them around these fridges, how to use them, how to maintain them, why they're important. And we're also carrying out some community engagement. As I mentioned, once we're done with this pilot, we'll gather all the lessons that we've learned so that we can eventually scale this up to be able to do it on a much larger scale and spread it across the whole country so that every single Nigerian has access to reliable and affordable cooling. We are planning to work with partners in the private sector, with the banks, of course the government. We want to influence policy so that compliant fridges are what are going to be the energy efficient, climate friendly fridges. So the impacts that we're trying to achieve would be through these policy changes as well as scaling up investments in this sector so that it becomes affordable and accessible to everybody across Nigeria. And rural communities can also have access to cooling cooling for preserving their food, for storing their medication, and for extending the life of their harvests.
Now, for those who are asking, why is this important? Perhaps some already have refrigerators in their homes that are not energy compliant, as you talked about. And the figure quoted by Kadi earlier, according to report, also means that, Nigeria's contribution to emissions would increase. I'd like you to explain, with some form of awareness information, why this is important for energy efficiency.
Thank you for that question. So this particular program is important because we found that, first of all, the population of Nigeria is steadily growing. And what that means is that the demand for these refrigerators would also grow. And refrigerators are one of the largest consumers of electricity in households, as you rightly mentioned earlier. And if we look at things a bit broader as well, the energy sector is the largest contributor to greenhouse gas emissions in Nigeria. And this means that they contribute the most to global climate change. So when you look at this growing electricity demand and the impact that electricity consumption has on global climate change, you also add on to that the limited electricity supply that we currently have. We find that using energy efficient technologies helps you to achieve these overarching goals of reducing the demand on the strained electricity supply, as well as reducing the global energy, the Nigeria's contribution to global climate change, and helping us to achieve our Paris Agreement goals and the nationally determined contribution goals as well. So this program helps to achieve those priorities for the Nigerian government through promoting the use of these energy efficient, climate friendly refrigerators that are less impactful negatively on the environment. And lastly, the program also is underpinned by Nigeria's new policy of the Nigeria First under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration. And what this is trying to achieve is for us to promote local manufacturing. So this program is going to align with those priorities by enhancing the capacity of local manufacturers, local technicians, companies that are manufacturing or assembling these refrigerators right here in Nigeria.
I mean, the future looks bright with this when it comes to energy, and it's good to see that we're thinking about the future already, and the REA, partner with UNEP, is championing this. So we'll be speaking with you in the coming weeks, months, for updates to see just how well this is catching on and how Nigerians are also responding to this. But we have to thank you so much, Saudatu Baboy, Project Manager, UNEP Off-Grid Refrigeration Guidelines Pilot Implementation Program at the Rural Electrification Agency. Thank you for your time. We wish you the very best.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. So we have our work cut out for us when it comes to energy consumption, and it would be great to see all of Nigeria jumping on this so we have better outcomes when it comes to energy. But just before we anchor on the show today, let us tell you the former Kenyan Prime Minister Raila Odinga has died at the age of 80, according to family sources. Odinga died today while receiving medical treatment at a hospital in India. Well, in recent weeks, there had been speculations about his death, although family members and political allies had dismissed reports suggesting he was critically ill.
Well, may his soul rest in peace. Was a key figure in Kenya's political history. And this is where we drop the anchor on the program. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back again tomorrow. I am Bukola Koka.
Sunrise Daily is next. I'm Kayode Ogikilu. Goodbye.